Hey folks, well, decided I need to do some work on the Scrambler. It's got some few issues that I need to take care of, some maintenance issues and so on, just from being 12 years old, and I figured I might as well document it in a couple videos as I make some repairs and replace some parts. I'll show you what I'm working with right now. Now you can see I've already got it all jacked up and the wheels and everything off, and I'll show you here a couple of things I need to fix. Hopefully you can see this. These are probably originals, but I don't know if it's enough light, but got some issues with the tie rod, inner tie rods. You can see, I don't know if you can see all that slop in there. It's pretty rough, and also might not be enough light, but this lower steering post bushing is shot too. There's a lot of slop in it as well, so I've got that on order. Most of the parts I had to order because they didn't have them in stock. I do have the inner tie rod ends, so and I figured might as well do it right. Also in the rear, really not much to see. I've already got the brake caliper off, got it hanging. I shouldn't be doing that, but rear brake is shot. I don't have. Here's the pads. I don't know if you can see in the light, but there's barely anything left. This one has nothing left at all. So got the new pads, but one of the problems with these particular quads, this era, the Polaris, is they've got a braking system where the lever up here that runs, oh, I shouldn't have done that, but that runs front and rear. And then there's this secondary that runs just the rear. Well, this little slave master cylinder, it's just a poor design and always goes out. So that thing is shot. It can't build pressure or anything. So I had to order a new one of those as well. But the Polaris dealership in St. Paul doesn't seem to stock too many parts. But figure another thing I decided to do is chain and sprocket. Replace those as well. They're probably originals. So got those coming too, so let's get to work. So because I'm waiting on parts for this thing, the only thing I really do tonight is do a little bit of tear down. So I'll see if I can get those inner tie rods off and maybe the sprocket and the chain, and there's no point in putting on the rear brake pads or anything until I get the master cylinder. So it's a matter of taking off these bolts. I might as well replace, I can do those. I'm going to put some tape here on the thread, so before I take off the tie rod, and I know how far to put the new one on. The rear here, it's just a matter of pulling off this chain, this guard, and then I'll probably just cut the chain. I don't think there's any point keeping it, but and then as far as that front sprocket way back in there is just a snap ring, and then the sprocket will just slide right off. These are only parts I have. The rear brake pads, a lot more meat on those. Hopefully they'll last a little bit. Inner tie rod ends, and surprisingly the quad uses just a standard 520 size O-ring chain, so have that ready to go too. That's just an aftermarket one that you cut to fit. So with these tie rods, I'm going to do one side at a time, and one thing you'll notice, it's kind of funny, and I saw this in the manual, is the way the steering is. The one tie rod is down below, and the one is in the center, so you gotta make sure that you get them back the right way, or the steering is going to be all screwed up. So let's just see if we can get that out of there. Might need to pry it a little bit. Grab the screwdriver. Never use a screwdriver as a pry bar, they say. But not sure. There she is. Probably what I can do is just pop this up this way, give her a spin, and out she comes. So the outer one's nice and tight. This inner one, she's pretty rotten. Okay, there's some electrical tape on there to get you in the ballpark. I'll have to do a front end alignment once I'm done anyways. It calls for, pretty easy to do. It just calls for I think an 1/8 to 1/4 inch of toe out. That was a little of a bear to get loose. special vice grips that I've got here. It's kind of a funky one. I think it's meant for bolts actually, but see if we can spin this off now. Not sure if these are originals, but regardless, 12 years old. Time to replace them. Probably would have been cheaper if I would have went somewhere else and just got some regular tie rod in. All right, just a matter of threading that shiny new one on. We'll get her, like I say, we'll get her pretty close. I'm gonna leave the jam nut loose because you need to be able to, let's get this off here, rotate it so it's lined up where it needs to be. Get that close, and then I'll fire the steering over again. One thing you gotta watch is you don't, when you're torquing it, you don't twist this ball joint out. You need to keep it at the right angle too. So let's see if we can get that in there. Might take a little bit of persuasion, but there she goes. I'll turn the steering a little more. It's funny, this one they didn't give a new bolt width, but the other one they did. Go figure. The bolts are fine anyway. I might put a bit of Loctite on the one that I'm reusing, because these have special lock nuts on them, hold them in place, but shouldn't be a problem. Go from the bottom up, but I'm going to put it from top down. See if I can get her lined up. Might need something to, like a little screwdriver, just to get it lined up where it needs to be, so the bolt will feed through. See if that did the trick. Voila! I'll just put the new nut on and snug her down. I'll probably have to take these off again when I get the steering bushing, but whatever, this way I can do what I can do. Well, turns out the dealership sold me the wrong tie rod end for that side. Wrong size, wrong thread. Should be, I don't know if it's right or left. It should be a left hand or right hand thread, and they sold me a left hand thread one. So much for finishing off the tie rod ends. I'll take that back and get them to get me the right one. It'll be the same as the other side probably. Go figure. Well, maybe work on the chain and that tonight instead. Well, working on getting the rear sprocket and chain and everything off. A couple things I've noticed. I'm not really familiar with working on quads, but the first thing is how to get this sprocket off. Looks like this whole hub has to come off so you can slip that sprocket off the end. Got the master link off. Came off surprisingly easy. Well, I should say the clip for the master link. Set up a light too so it's easier to see, and now it should just be a matter of giving her a whack, pulling the old one out, voila, and there's the chain and the sprocket. Should be able to just, let's see here, pull this chain right on through. A little stiff, but, and there she be. Next is to see how on earth this hub comes off. Pretty sure it's just got to pop this cap off here, and there's going to be a big monster nut on the end that I'm not have a wrench big enough to take off. There she be. I'll see if I can persuade that thing off. Oh, got the hub off. Surprisingly, I didn't have the right sized socket for this, but I got lucky with a good old-fashioned crescent wrench, because the nut was actually not on too tight, and off she came. It's just splined onto the shaft, so it's a matter of popping that sprocket off, and then the inner one might be a little trickier too, but I might not even bother with that tonight. We'll see how it goes. There you have it, sprocket off. You can see why I decided to replace it. Come on, focus. Couple teeth missing. You can see how it's rounded over on the edge. It's almost like it was out of alignment a little bit. And also the teeth are worn pretty good, so it's time for a new one. I think the previous owner may have probably changed the sprocket without, or changed the chain without changing sprocket. I don't know if you can see in this video, it's even pretty cupped bent, so she's in rough shape. Definitely time for a new one. Well, got the front sprocket off too. It's not missing teeth, but you can see how she's pulled over pretty bad, and there was some slop in the splines too, so she was ready for a replacement as well. Well, I'm gonna call her a night tonight since I gotta get some more parts or wait for parts to come in, but it's a good start anyway, and I'll post another video when I do some more work. Talk to you later.